Rayan sat alone in his giant glass office. The city lights below looked like stars, but none of them made him feel warm. He had everything: money, power, fame, but there was something missing, something deep, a family. A child. He turned his chair slowly and looked at the woman standing quietly near his desk. Mira had been his secretary for 4 years. She was smart, quiet, and never asked too many questions. She worked hard and always kept to herself. Rayan had seen hundreds of people come and go, but Mira stayed. She was honest. That's why he had chosen her for something unusual. "I want to offer you something," Rayan said calmly. Mera blinked, a little surprised. "Yes, sir?" "This is not about business," he continued. "It's personal. I want to have a child, but I can't. Not the usual way. I've tried. Doctors say it's not possible." She listened without interrupting. Her hands held a small notebook, but she didn't write anything. "I've invested in new medical technology," Rayan said. "It can help create life in a different way, using a healthy person's body. A child half from my side and carried by you." Mira's eyes widened and she stepped back a little. "You want me to have your baby?" "Yes," he said. "You'll be taken care of. You won't be alone. You'll live in a safe place, private and peaceful. You'll receive 10 million after the birth." Mira didn't answer right away. It was a lot to think about. Rayan didn't pressure her. "Take your time, say nothing to anyone. Not even your family. I'll wait for your answer." That night, Mira sat in her small apartment. The lights were off. She looked at the ceiling and thought hard. She had no husband, no children. She had no big dreams left. Life had been simple and quiet. She had grown used to being invisible. But now, someone had asked her to bring a life into this world. A special child. Was it wrong? Or was it fate? In the morning, she returned to Rayan's office and gave a small nod. "I'll do it," she said softly. A month later, Mira was moved to a hidden medical house in the countryside. There were no news cameras, no reporters. Just doctors, nurses, and a peaceful lake nearby. The child was made using a new AI-based embryo design. It was advanced, using human DNA and special coding to make the baby smarter, stronger, and healthier than normal. The doctors called it a miracle of science. Rayan visited often, always asking about the baby's progress. Mira, at first unsure, slowly began to feel a bond with the small life growing inside her. But strange things started to happen. At only 3 months, the baby's heartbeat was faster than normal. At 4 months, it responded to music, kicking when certain notes were played. The doctors were surprised. Then, at 5 months, Mira had a dream. In it, the baby said a word to her. A word in her native language. "Ama." "Mother." She woke up, heart racing. It felt so real. At the next checkup, one of the scientists said, "There's something strange about the baby's brain." "What do you mean?" Mira asked, worried. "The brain activity is advanced, more active than anything we've seen in an unborn child." Mira placed her hand on her stomach and whispered, "Are you trying to speak to me?" The baby kicked twice. Rayan sat in his home office reading the reports. They didn't make sense. Every test showed the child's development was beyond normal, too fast, too intelligent. He looked out at the stars again, thinking, "I wanted a child," he whispered, "but what have I created?" At that moment, a message from the lead doctor popped up on his screen. "The child may be born early. Everything is stable, but we don't understand how. Prepare yourself, Mr. Rayan. This is not an ordinary child." Mira lay in the hospital bed, her heart racing. It was only the 7th month, but the baby was ready. The doctors moved quickly around her, checking machines and whispering to each other. Outside, the rain tapped gently on the windows of the hidden medical house. "It's too early," one doctor said. but the baby's vitals are strong. This isn't normal. Another replied, nothing about this baby has been normal since the beginning. Mira held her stomach and breathed deeply. She could feel the child moving, not with panic but with purpose. As if it knew what it was doing. Within an hour, the baby was born. A silence fell over the room. He didn't cry. He simply opened his eyes. Big, deep, silver-gray eyes that stared at everyone in the room like he had known them for years. The baby looked straight at Mira, then at the doctor beside her. And then, in a soft but clear voice, he said one word. Hello. The room froze. The nurses looked at each other. One dropped the towel in her hand. The doctor whispered, Did the baby just speak? Rayan arrived an hour later in a black coat, stepping into the quiet room with slow steps. Mira held the baby in her arms, wrapped in a soft white blanket. Her eyes were tired but calm. Rayan stared at the child. Is this him? Mira nodded. His name is Zayn. The baby turned his head toward Rayan. Again, those sharp, silver eyes locked in. Are you my father? Zayn asked. Rayan stepped back, shocked. He spoke? The doctor explained, he has full control of his mouth muscles. His brain is developed like a 5-year-old, maybe more. We don't understand it. Mira looked down at the baby and smiled gently. He's different, but he's still a baby. Over the next few months, Zayn grew fast, not in size but in knowledge. At 2 months old, he could read simple books. At 3 months, he was solving puzzles meant for older children. He never cried without reason. He spoke clearly. He asked deep questions. Why do people lie? What is death? Why is the sky blue only on Earth? Rayan had the best scientists and doctors watch over him. They ran tests, but none of them could explain how a baby could think like that. One day, Rayan visited Zayn with a gift, a small learning tablet. It was locked from internet access, just full of child-safe games and stories. Zayn smiled and said, Thank you, Baba. That word made something shift inside Rayan. For the first time in years, he felt something real, something strong. A connection. But the moment didn't last long. The next day, alarms went off at the lab. The scientists rushed in. The tablet was glowing. He hacked it, one shouted. He broke the firewall. He connected it to the observatory satellite. What? Rayan asked. A screen turned on. A star map appeared. It wasn't Earth-based. It was from deep space. Yen stood beside it, holding the tablet with his tiny hands. I wanted to learn where we came from, so I asked the stars. Rayan stared at the screen. He had never felt so amazed and so afraid at the same time. Mira was sitting on a bench by the lake, watching the sun go down. Zayn sat beside her, feet not even touching the ground. Do you love me? He asked. She looked at him with gentle eyes. Of course I do. You are my son. But I'm not like other babies, he said. I know that. Am I a mistake? She held his hand tightly. No, Zayn, you're a gift. A special one. Zayn smiled a little, but his eyes were still sad. I don't want to be taken away from you. Mira's heart sank. Why would anyone take you away? He looked toward the sky. They're coming. Rayan didn't sleep that night. He kept looking at the message on his screen. The government wanted Zayn. They were calling him Subject Z, like an object, not a child. Rayan felt a chill in his chest. He had created this life. He had brought Zayn into the world. But now others wanted to control him. He picked up his phone and called Mira. It's time to leave, he said. We're not safe anymore. Mira didn't ask questions. She trusted Rayan. She packed quickly, just a few clothes, some baby things, and Zayn's favorite storybook. Zayn sat quietly watching her. Are we running? He asked. Yes, she replied gently. We have to keep you safe. Zayn nodded. I understand. I already saw this coming. Mira looked at him with surprise. What do you mean? I read the patterns. The way people talk. The way they move. They fear what they don't understand. And I am different. By morning, a private jet took off from a hidden runway. Only Rayan, Mira, Zayn, and one trusted pilot were on board. They flew to a small island Rayan owned. No one knew about it except him and two old friends who helped build it as a secret tech lab. It had solar power, clean water, and everything needed to live quietly. There, Zayn could grow without being watched. Over the next weeks, Rayan and Mira watched Zayn carefully. He wasn't just smart, he was far beyond anything they expected. He built simple machines, using broken tools that he learned new languages by listening to short videos. He asked deep questions about life, time, and space. At 6 months old, he fixed a broken drone and made it follow his voice commands. At 7 months, he wrote a story on Mira's laptop, a full story, with characters, emotion, and a strong message about kindness. Mira often sat alone at night, wondering how this could be possible. I carried him, she said to Rayan. But this child, this mind, it feels like something more. One day, Zayn came to them holding a tablet. He had drawn something unusual, a circle with strange marks around it, and lines pointing outward like a star map. This is where I came from, he said calmly. Rayan knelt beside him. What do you mean? That's not Earth. Zayn looked at him seriously. I don't fully understand, but this memory, it's in me. It's not from books. It's not from dreams. It's real. I saw it before I was born. Rayan stood up, silent. The idea was impossible. But everything about Zayn had been impossible from the start. That evening, Rayan sat on the beach, watching the waves. Mira joined him, her eyes filled with quiet worry. Do you think he's human? She asked. Rayan took a long breath. He's something new, maybe part of us. Maybe part of something else. But he's still our child, Mira said. He still needs love. Yes, Rayan agreed, and protection. They sat in silence, the wind brushing against them like a whisper. Suddenly, the house behind them lit up. Lights flashed. Sharp alarm rang once, then stopped. They rushed back inside. Zayn stood in the center of the room, holding his small hand in the air. I'm sorry, he said softly. I needed to test something. The monitor behind him showed numbers, codes, and a live feed from a government satellite. You hacked into it again? Rayan asked, both amazed and afraid. Zayn nodded. They're watching, but I've changed the codes. They can't see us now. Rayan dropped into a chair, his hands on his head. He's not just a child, he's a supermind. What happens when he grows older? When his power grows more than we can handle? Mira sat beside Zayn and hugged him. Then we guide him. We show him how to use it with heart. Zayn leaned into her arms. I don't want to hurt anyone. I just want to learn and be free. Cliffhanger ending. That night, as the wind howled outside, Zayn stood at the window, staring at the stars. He whispered quietly, as if speaking to someone far away. I'm here. I'm awake. Come find me. A second later, a signal from space was detected by Rayan's backup server, an unknown frequency, sending a reply in Zayn's own voice. We are ready. Rayan stared at the computer screen, frozen. The signal had come just seconds ago, not from Earth, not from any known satellite. It came from deep space. But what made it more shocking was the voice. It was Zayn's voice, exactly the same. Message was short, clear, and impossible to explain. We are ready. Mira stood in the doorway, holding Zayn in her arms. What is it? She asked. Rayan turned the screen so she could see. Her eyes widened. That's his voice, she whispered. Zayn looked at the screen without fear. They heard me. Who? Mira asked, her voice shaking. I don't know their name, Zayn said. But they're out there, I feel them. They've been waiting for me. Rayan stepped back. This is bigger than anything I imagined. This isn't just science. This is something else. The next day, a private military drone flew over the island. It circled twice, then vanished. Rayan's secret island was no longer hidden. He called his trusted friend Amir, a former intelligence officer. They found us, Rayan said. I warned you this day would come, Amir replied. They don't want a child. They want control. What do I do? Leave now. Rayan moved fast. He packed only the most important tech, the secure drives, Zayn's star map, and the backup server. Mira gathered their things and held Zayn close. A hidden speedboat waited at the island's edge. Waves hit hard as they raced toward the mainland. Zayn sat quietly, eyes closed, his tiny hand touching the boat's console. Rayan looked at him. What are you doing? I'm listening, Zayn replied. To the machines, to the sky. They're still tracking us. I can feel it. Mira held him tightly. We'll keep you safe, I promise. They reached a quiet coastal town by evening. Rayan had another safe house, hidden under the name of an old company. Inside, it looked like a regular home, but beneath it was a room full of tech. Yin walked around like he'd been there before. I like this place, he said. It feels calm, Rayan nodded. You'll be safe here for now. But in his heart, he knew it wouldn't last. That night, Rayan and Mira sat in the underground lab, whispering. Zayn's getting stronger, Rayan said. He can feel signals. He can stop machines. He hacked a satellite at 6 months old. What if they try to use him? Mira's face was pale. What if they try to hurt him? Rayan stood. Then we don't run. We fight. But how? She asked. He opened a locked box and took out a small device, a high-level jammer that could stop any surveillance system for 10 minutes. I designed this in case of emergency. It can block signals from cameras, drones, satellites. Everything. And after 10 minutes? Mira asked. Everything comes back. Zayn walked in, holding a drawing. It showed 3 figures, Rayan, Mira, and Zayn, standing in front of a large tower with light coming out. What is this? Rayan asked. A place I saw in my mind, Zayn said. A place where I can send a message, one that reaches everyone. Mira knelt beside him. What kind of message? One of peace, Zayn said softly. But I need your help. The next morning, 3 black cars stopped near the town. Men in suits stepped out, scanning the area. They were from a special division, not public, not even part of the regular military. Their job was to find threats that the world wasn't ready for. Their leader, Mr. Dale, held a photo of Zayn in his hand. Find the boy, he said. He may look like a child, but he could change everything. Back in the safe house, Rayan activated the jammer. The lights flickered. We have 10 minutes, he said. Zayn took a deep breath. He held a small disc he had built himself. It glowed faintly. This will stop them, he said. But I can't press it. You have to choose. Choose what? Mira asked. To send the signal or destroy it. Rayan looked at her, then at the glowing disc. Outside, footsteps grew closer. They were running out of time. The sound of footsteps outside grew louder. The agents had reached the front door of the safe house. Their black uniforms and cold eyes showed no kindness, only orders. Inside, Rayan stood frozen, holding the glowing disc Zayn had given him. Mira stood beside him, her arms around Zayn. What does this disc do? Rayan whispered. It sends out a signal, Zayn replied. One strong enough to reach every satellite, every camera, every listening device. But it does something. More. What? Mira asked softly. Zayn looked up at them. It teaches. It sends a message from me, not in words but in thoughts. A message of peace, a feeling that can enter the heart. Rayan stared at the disc. And if we send it? They might stop chasing us, Zayn said. Or ... they might fear me even more. And if we destroy it? Mira asked. Then they'll come in. They'll take me. They'll study me like a lab animal. Zayn's voice didn't shake, but Mira's eyes filled with tears. There was no time to wait. A knock hit the door. Open the door. This is a special unit of national defense. We know you are inside. Surrender the child peacefully. Rayan looked at Mira. She shook her head. We can't let them take him. But the signal, Rayan paused. What if it makes things worse? Zayn stepped forward. You must choose. Do you want to hide forever, or show them I am not a weapon? Rayan placed the disc on the table. He had built machines his whole life. Weapons, programs, tech smarter than anything the world had seen. But this was different. This was a child. A voice of hope. He pressed the center of the disc. A soft pulse filled the room. No loud noise. No bright flash. Just a calm warmth, like sunlight passing through a quiet forest. Zayn closed his eyes. His mind reached out, not through wires but through something greater. Thought, emotion, memory. He sent out his message. I am not here to harm. I want to learn. I want peace. I am like you, just born a different way. Outside, the agents felt a sudden wave of calm. The leader, Mr. Dale, dropped his weapon. He touched his chest, confused. The anger, the fear, it was gone. What ... is happening? One soldier asked. The signal had reached them. Not just them. It reached satellites above, networks across oceans, and cities far away. It entered the minds of those watching, listening, preparing to act. And for the first time, they didn't feel fear. They felt understood. Inside the house, the lights stopped blinking. The jammer shut off. Rayan stepped to the window and looked outside. The agents were no longer trying to break in. They were standing still, silent. Zayn tightly. Is it over? She asked. Zayn nodded. For now. Rayan stepped out of the house slowly, holding up both hands. Mr. Dale looked at him but didn't raise his weapon. You don't need to be afraid, Rayan said. He's not a threat. He's a child, a special one. But he only wants peace. Mr. Dale didn't reply right away. Then he lowered his head and said, We received the message, all of us. He turned to his team. Stand down. That evening, the sun set with golden light. Zayn sat on the roof, looking up at the stars. Do you think they'll leave us alone now? Mira asked, sitting beside him. They won't forget me, Zayn said. But maybe now they'll understand. Rayan joined them, carrying warm tea. You did something amazing today, he said. You made the whole world feel something, without war, without power. Zayn smiled a little. Feelings are stronger than weapons, Rayan nodded. You taught me that. Cliffhanger ending. Later that night, while everyone slept, Zayn woke suddenly. His eyes glowed faintly. He walked to the control room and opened a file on the computer. A strange signal had arrived, not from Earth. It was calling him again. This time, it said, Come home. Zayn whispered to himself, But I already have a home. Still, he pressed download. The room was dark except for the soft blue light coming from the computer screen. Zayn stood in front of it, his small fingers moving quickly across the keyboard. On the screen, strange symbols appeared, not from Earth. They glowed in patterns, forming a message that only Zayn could understand. He whispered to himself, They are calling again. The words from the signal repeated, Come home. Zayn looked up at the night sky through the small window. I don't know where home is, he said quietly, but I want to understand. In the morning, Rayan found Zayn asleep on the chair in the control room. The computer was still running, showing strange star maps and unknown data. Zayn, Rayan said softly, shaking his shoulder. Zayn opened his eyes slowly. I didn't mean to fall asleep here. What were you doing? There was another signal from far away. It came after I sent my message. From where? Zayn pointed at the map. Not from our solar system. From another part of the galaxy. Rayan looked at the screen. The symbols made no sense to him, but Zayn understood them like they were his first language. Mira entered the room, holding a cup of warm milk. You didn't sleep in your bed, she said, worried. I had to listen, Zayn said. They were waiting for my answer. Who are they? She asked. Zayn looked down. I'm not sure, but I feel connected. That day, Zayn spent hours drawing. He made pictures of tall silver towers, wide blue skies, and creatures with peaceful faces, not human, but not scary either. I watched him quietly. Are these memories? Zayn nodded. I think so. They're not dreams. I didn't learn them here. They live inside me. Rayan joined them and sat on the floor. Do you think your DNA has something from them? Maybe, Zayn said. Or maybe they sent something across the stars a long time ago. A piece of themselves. A seed. I'm the result. Mira touched his head gently. But you were born from me. You are our son. Zayn smiled. I know. That's why I'm different. But also human. Later that night, something strange happened. Zayn was playing with blocks when he suddenly froze. His body stiffened, and his eyes began to glow again, brighter than before. Mira rushed to him. Zayn, what's wrong? Zayn didn't answer. He collapsed, falling into her arms. Rayan! Mira screamed. Rayan ran into the room and helped lay Zayn down. His heartbeat was fast, his skin cold. I don't understand. Mira cried. He was fine. Rayan grabbed a scanner and checked Zayn's vitals. His brain activity is off the charts, it's like. His mind is moving too fast. They placed him in the medical bed in the lab. Machines buzzed and blinked. Rayan worked quickly, connecting the eye monitor to Zayn's brainwaves. The screen showed storm-like waves of thought, too strong, too fast. He's not just thinking, Rayan said. He's communicating. Inside Zayn's mind, he saw a world full of light and sound. Creatures with long arms and glowing eyes stood in front of him. They spoke without words, sending feelings and images. They showed him their home, a peaceful planet, full of life and color. They showed him their past, a time when they sent knowledge into the stars, hoping to find minds that could grow. With it, they had reached Earth. And Zayn was their answer. Back in the lab, Rayan searched through his files. He remembered something, a secret code the embryo lab had once used. A mix of human DNA and something labeled as unknown source. That's it, he whispered. They used alien data. That's how this all began. After hours, Zayn opened his eyes. Mira cried with relief. You're awake, Zayn smiled weakly. I saw them. They're real. And they're peaceful. They don't want to rule us. They want to connect. Rayan leaned closer. What do? They want now. They want to meet us, Zayn said. Not with ships, not with power, with truth, through me. Cliffhanger ending. Zayn sat up slowly. But if I open the full link, I'll become something more. I may not stay fully human. Mira gripped his hand tightly. You're my son. You'll always be human to me. Zayn looked at the stars. The lab was quiet now. Machines beeped softly around Zayn's bed. Mira sat beside him, holding his hand gently. Rayan stood nearby, his eyes filled with worry. Zayn had been awake for only a few hours, but his body was weak. His energy had dropped after the connection with the alien signal. He's recovering, the doctor said. But his mind went through something very powerful. We've never seen brain activity like this. Rayan nodded. He saw something beyond human understanding. Zayn opened his eyes and gave a small smile. I'm okay now. Mira leaned closer. You scared us. I didn't mean to, he whispered. I just wanted to understand who I am. You are our son, Mira said softly, no matter what. Over the next few days, Zayn slowly gained strength. He ate little, slept more, and stayed quiet most of the time. But even in silence, his mind was working. He would look at the sky for hours. He would draw symbols and maps that no one else could read. One evening, Rayan sat beside him and asked, "What are you thinking about?" Zayn replied, "Balance. I'm not just human, and I'm not just something else. I'm both. I need to find the middle." Rayan sighed. "Is that why you almost collapsed?" Zayn nodded. "My mind is faster than my body. If I keep using too much energy, I won't survive." Rayan looked serious. "Then we have to slow your mind down." Zayn stared at him. "Can you do that?" Rayan smiled. "Yes, with technology." That night, Rayan went into his private lab and opened a metal case. Inside were tiny silver machines, nanobots. He had designed them years ago for healing injuries, but never tested them on someone so young. These can enter the body and adjust brain signals. He told Mira, they might help him think slower. Keep his body safe. "Are you sure it's safe?" Mira asked. "No, but it's our best hope." The next morning, Zayn agreed to try. "I trust you," he said to Rayan. The process was simple. The nanobots were placed in a drink. Zayn drank it without fear. Within minutes, the machines entered his system and started their work. His body felt lighter. His thoughts slowed, not in a bad way, but in a peaceful way. For the first time, he could rest without feeling the rush of 1,000 ideas. "It's working," he whispered. Mera smiled, tears in her eyes. "Thank you, Rayan." Rayan nodded. "He deserves a normal life, or as close as we can give him." With his mind now stable, Zayn began to act more like a normal child. He laughed more, played with simple toys, and asked about the world in small ways. Why do birds fly? Why does snow feel cold? Why do people hug when they're happy? Mira enjoyed every moment. To her, this was the real miracle, not powers, not alien signals, but the heart of a child. One afternoon, Zayn drew something new. It was a planet, not Earth, with red trees, silver clouds, and blue rivers. Above it, a symbol floated in the air. "This is where they come from," he said. Rayan studied the drawing. "Is this their home?" "Yes," Zayn replied. "They call it Aluris. I remember it now." Mira asked, "Do they want you to go there?" "They asked," Zayn said. "But I said no. Earth is my home. My family is here." Mira hugged him tightly. "You don't know how happy that makes me." Later that night, as they sat on the porch under the stars, Zayn said something that surprised them. "I want to help others like me." Rayan raised an eyebrow. "You think there are others?" "Not yet," Zayn said. "But one day there will be children born with new minds, different gifts. They will need someone to guide them." Mira looked at Rayan. Maybe this is why he was born. Rayan nodded. "Not to destroy, not to rule, but to teach." Zayn smiled. "To give hope." Cliffhanger ending. The computer beeped in the lab. A new signal had arrived, not from deep space, but from Earth. A hidden message. From a scientist who once worked on Zayn's embryo project. It read, "You are not the only one. Prepare yourself." Zayn stared at the message.